Hey folks, John Oliver here, and tonight we're diving into the wild world of financial crises. Now I know what you're thinking. Economics? John, you're killing me. But trust me on this one. Understanding how these crashes happen is more entertaining than a runaway alpaca on a trampoline. Plus, it might just save your 401k from going belly up. Think of financial crises like those epic party fouls that start with one too many tequila shots and end with someone face down in the dip. Except instead of spilled margaritas, we're talking trillions of dollars vanishing overnight. And instead of a hungover roommate, the whole global economy feels the pain. So what causes these economic hangovers? Well, it's rarely just one bad decision. It's usually a cocktail of reckless behavior, short-sighted policies, and a dash of good old-fashioned panic. But don't worry, we're breaking it all down step by step in a way that even your goldfish could understand. Because let's face it, nobody wants to be the last one to know the party's over, especially when it's the global economy we're talking about. So, buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to get our econ on. Alright, let's start with a classic, the housing bubble. Remember the 2008 financial crisis? Yeah, that was a real doozy. It all started with the seemingly brilliant idea of giving mortgages to, well, pretty much anyone with a pulse. Banks were handing out loans even to folks who couldn't tell a credit score from a bowling score. And why not? Housing prices were skyrocketing, so even if borrowers defaulted, hey, the bank could just sell the house for a profit, right? What could possibly go wrong? Well, as it turns out, a lot. See, this whole scheme relied on one tiny assumption that housing prices would keep going up like a rocket to the moon. But guess what? Rockets eventually run out of fuel, and housing prices, my friends, are not immune to the laws of gravity. When the bubble finally burst and those prices came crashing down, millions of people found themselves owing more on their homes than they were worth. Foreclosures skyrocketed, banks went belly up, and the whole financial system nearly imploded. It was like watching a game of Jenga, where someone pulled the wrong block and the whole tower came crashing down. Now let's talk about deregulation. Imagine a financial system with no rules, no referees, and no penalties for playing dirty. Sounds like fun, right? Well, not so much. Deregulation is like letting your toddler loose in a candy store with your credit card. Sure, it might seem like a good idea at the time, but you're gonna regret it later. When governments loosen the reins on the financial industry, it allows banks and other institutions to take on more risk than they can handle. They start gambling with your money on all sorts of complex and risky investments like those mortgage-backed securities that were all the rage before the 2008 crash. And just like your toddler on a sugar high, these institutions eventually crash and burn, leaving taxpayers to clean up the mess. Because when it comes to bailing out the big banks, suddenly those free market principles go right out the window. Global contagion: when one falls, they all fall. Here's the thing about the global economy. It's kind of like a giant game of dominoes. One wrong move and the whole thing can come tumbling down. That's what we call global contagion. Remember that whole housing bubble bursting in the US? Well, it didn't just stay in America. See, those fancy mortgage-backed securities were sold to investors all over the world. So, when the US housing market went kaput, it triggered a chain reaction that sent shockwaves through the global financial system. Banks in Europe and Asia that had invested heavily in these toxic assets suddenly found themselves in deep trouble. Credit markets froze up, businesses couldn't get loans, and the global economy went into a tailspin. It was like watching a slow-motion train wreck, except the train was the entire world. What can we do? So, what can we do to prevent these financial meltdowns? Well, it's complicated, but here are a few ideas. Regulate the financial industry. Remember that whole deregulation thing? Yeah, let's not do that again. We need strong regulations to prevent banks and other institutions from taking on too much risk. Promote financial literacy. If people understand how the financial system works, they're less likely to fall victim to predatory lending practices and other financial shenanigans. International cooperation. Financial crises don't respect borders, so we need global solutions. That means working together to prevent crises and coordinate responses when they do happen. Look, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but if we want to avoid another financial crisis, we need to get our act together. Because let's face it, the only thing scarier than a financial crisis is another financial crisis. Join the conversation. So there you have it, folks. A crash course on the causes of financial crises. Did I miss anything? Probably. But hey, I'm just one guy with a YouTube channel and a team of sleep-deprived writers. That's why I need your help. Head over to the comments section and tell me what you think. What are your biggest fears about the economy? What can we do to create a more stable and equitable financial system? Let's get a conversation going. And while you're at it, be sure to subscribe to Express Econgeo Finance Insights for more in-depth analysis and insights on the global economy. Because knowledge is power, people. And when it comes to the financial system, a little knowledge can go a long way. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged.